This is Lauren Bell, this is Lauren Live, and of course, we're talking about the ridiculous and insane and fascist and undemocratic and unconstitutional arrest of Don Lemon. Don Lemon, of course, a longtime journalist for 30 years, mostly known, of course, to be on CNN, but right now he has the Don Lemon Show, and that's blowing up online. Like so many other folks in independent media, Joy Reid, Roland Martin, and Don Lemon are blowing up. Obviously, this has not gone unnoticed by the Trump administration. They do not want people telling the truth. They don't want people speaking out against what Donald Trump is doing, a rise of authoritarianism in the United States like we have never seen in the history of the country. They're speaking out on a daily basis. Don Lemon has been speaking out on a daily basis. And we have a situation where a judge had already ruled that he would not be prosecuted. And of course, they went ahead and decided to figure out some way to do it through Pam Bondi. And it sounds very, very much like what happened with Tish James and James Comey, where we have these retaliatory moves toward people that Donald Trump doesn't like, using the Justice Department for weaponization, defining what others do in legal and lawful investigations, weaponization. We have a vindictive, vengeful, crazy president of the United States who likes to tweet all night. And this has become an extremely dangerous situation. There's no other way to describe it. We're going to go now to what was said by Hakeem Jeffries. And Hakeem Jeffries, of course, is the House Democratic leader in Congress. Interesting, he's around, the House is out, the Senate is in. Of course, we have a shutdown deadline tonight at midnight. But he commented on Don Lemon earlier today.
Morning, everyone. Taxpayer dollars should be used to make life better for the American people, to drive down the high cost of living, to fix our broken healthcare system, and to deliver a government that actually promotes the health, the safety, and the economic well-being of the American people. Instead, Donald Trump and his administration have been using taxpayer dollars to brutalize everyday Americans, kill American citizens, and violently target law-abiding immigrant families. It's unacceptable, it's unconscionable, and it's un-American. This administration continues to weaponize the Department of Justice, weaponize the Department of Homeland Security, weaponize the power of government to undermine the ability of everyday Americans to live their best life, because they're so consumed with jamming their right-wing extremism down the throats of the American people. We will not be intimidated by any of their actions. We will stay the course as it relates to making sure that we actually fund the government in a manner that is consistent with our values, consistent with the Constitution, and consistent with the American way of life. There's a big difference between the Trump administration, Republicans on the one hand, and how Democrats want to spend your taxpayer dollars on the other. Republicans, in their one big ugly bill, enacted the largest cut to Medicaid in American history, ripped healthcare away from more than 14 million Americans, and at the same period of time, took $186 billion from SNAP, literally stealing food from the mouths of hungry children, seniors, and veterans. And in that same one big ugly bill, used taxpayer dollars to give the Department of Homeland Security and ICE a slush fund that's been used to unleash a killing machine in Minneapolis, using taxpayer dollars literally to kill American citizens in cold blood. That's what Republicans have done in their one big ugly bill. That's their policy. And Democrats are going to continue to push back aggressively against it. We want to make sure that the Department of Homeland Security conducts itself in a manner that elevates public safety, not undermines it. And the American people are demanding accountability, and that's what Democrats are going to deliver. Question?
Should we expect any sort of organized response from Democrats to the arrest of Don Lemon this morning? And what do you think that says about the Trump administration?
Trump administration has systematically targeted the free and fair press because they want to intimidate America and oppose anyone who is not willing to bend the knee to their extremism. We are not going to be intimidated at all. The free and fair press is central to the foundation of American democracy. Thomas Jefferson famously made that clear, that he would prefer a country that had newspapers over government as opposed to governments over newspapers. This is central to who we are as a country. And so Don Lemon, we know, is an accomplished journalist who was doing his job as part of the free and fair press. There's no legitimacy, no basis to Don Lemon's arrest, no basis to the arrest of the other journalists. And the American people are not going to stand for it. And House Democrats are going to stand up for them. And the rights of the free and fair press as central to American democracy and our values in terms of who we are.
But how?
I issued a statement as it relates to where we are right now. It just happened. And so we haven't had an opportunity, even as members of Congress, to talk to each other about next steps. But of course, next steps will be forthcoming.
Sorry. Sorry, the mic was off. Jeffries is absolutely right. They put out a statement 5 seconds after this happened. I don't even think Georgia Fort's name was in the statement because it had just happened. So, like, the idea that they can be that quick with their caucus, which they can't. It's over 200 people. That ain't happening. I mean, it's a situation where, you have to get everybody together, have a conversation. There's not a whole lot to talk about here because, this is such a brazen attack on the First Amendment and a brazen attack on the free press that there is not a whole lot to discuss. I mean, there's just not a whole lot to discuss. I made a Don Lemon T-shirt, whatever. I'm sure Don Lemon will make T-shirts in his own shop. He has a pretty nice swag store, to say the least. But I just didn't know what to do with myself, so I made a T-shirt because I was pissed off, and I'm still pissed off about this because I just feel like this is absolutely ridiculous. We could kind of see this coming. It wasn't completely surprising because, in fact, you knew that you could see the attempt of, it was about 2 weeks ago when this thing happened in the church, and you could see that there was sort of this effort to put a spotlight on what happened in that incident, blame Don Lemon for it, which was ridiculous. He was there covering it. But this administration, of course, loves to lie. They love to make up scenarios and control narratives. They use their media partners, Fox News and Daily Signal and all the others and all the idiot right-wing influencers who are online to drive their narrative and to drive their message. And quite frankly, it works. It works because if you're not really paying attention, you would believe some of the nonsense that's going on. So they're very good at narrative and they're very good at making people who are just paying half attention think that something's happening that is actually not really happening in the way that they have defined it. But at any rate, yes, of course, there is a Georgia Fort T-shirt as well, and those links are actually in the description of this live. But at any rate, there's a lot going on. It's not just this story that's breaking today. There was a threat by Donald Trump on Barack Obama to arrest Barack Obama for some reason, which was crazy. And then we had the Epstein files. Really, what happened was the Epstein files came out first. And then we had this whole thing that happened with, oh my God, I'm threatening to arrest Barack Obama. Because, of course, Donald Trump has always had an obsession with Barack Obama. He has an obsession with anybody who's more talented and good looking and smarter than he is. And, of course, Barack Obama checks all those boxes. And, we just have a situation where this president is a baby. We're dealing with somebody who has been really under suspicion of having some sort of illness of some type that, of course, has not been confirmed. And it's hard to tell, but doctors are starting to pop up. Doctors are starting to pop up online talking about the possibility that this president does have some sort of an issue. It's hard to define exactly what that issue may be. Almost everybody who's an independent journalist right now is online, is talking, is involved in some sort of a live feed. Obviously, Jim Acosta, Joy Reid, Roland Martin, um, everyone. I'm sure that the Bulwark and the Contrarian have probably done something by now, a live of some type. And you can absolutely best believe that that will continue because the model of Don Lemon's journalism is very clear. It is the future of journalism. It is the future of the free press, which is independent journalism. And Donald Trump, of course, is trying to threaten all of it because it is dangerous for people who are liars to have people like Don Lemon around. It is dangerous to have people. It's dangerous to have people such as Roland Martin and Joy Reid around because that is how you get exposed when you are a liar. That is how you get exposed. So, at any rate, you can best believe that this is going to continue. The threats on the press. He's trying to, in fact, scare certain people who do media. That is a lot of people, and particularly these folks that are independent are really sort of available. They're really sort of able to say whatever they want, and in a way that corporate media is not going to allow. And that is what this is, okay? And this whole effort, of course, is a threat, a huge threat. This effort is a threat to the free press, not just Don Lemon and Georgia Fort, but to the free press and to information and truthful information. They're trying to control the media. They're trying to control what people find out about. And as the more Epstein files come spilling out into the public, you can understand why. Donald Trump has a lot to hide. It's very obvious that he has a lot to hide and he's scared. And when he gets scared, he gets dangerous and he starts going out and lashing out against all of his political enemies. We've seen this movie before with him. I'm sure we'll see it again. And I'm going to take a peek right now at Don Lemon's show, his channel. He is due to be, I suspect, of course, he won't be on, but he did have, of course, Monique Presley on this morning, filling in as an anchor. And then he had a myriad of folks commenting, and it was very, very impressive. And I suspect that there will be another. I'm sure they'll come back up at 5 o'clock and do it again. They will do what they did again in terms of the show that they put on, which was quite good, of course, as usual. Actually, they are a lot.
Back for people. That's when they want states' rights. But when it comes to trans athletes, they want a ban on that federally, right? Now there's only two genders by decree of the president. Like they're so bad faith when it comes to free speech. Free speech for them was only because they didn't want to say your pronouns correctly. They wanted to use the T slur. They want to use the N word. They want to, whatever other slurs they want to do. That's all, the R slur. That's all it's about.
So Don Lemon's show is, of course, live here with Monique Presley, and they have been continuing a discussion, I think, pretty much all day long. I don't know if they ever actually broke off, which is fantastic. And this is a moment of fascism in the United States. Not the first moment, certainly not the first moment, but it is a major moment. It is going to go down as an inflection point. There is absolutely no doubt about it. Don Lemon, of course, will get the headlines, but Georgia Fort is an outstanding journalist who has been doing a lot of good work, and she should get a lot of attention as well in this situation. Hopefully, she will get some free legal help because I'm sure this is going to be an expensive adventure. And, that's one of the little games that they play. Oh, we get you on some criminal nonsense, and then you have to spend a bunch of money on a criminal defense attorney. Yeah, that's the whole game. And we bankrupt you in the process. We get you on that spinning wheel of spending money, and it goes on and on and on. And so Don Lemon, targeting him, of course, ain't gonna do it because this man has some resources. So I'm not sure why they think that's gonna work with him, but certainly with Georgia Fort, it's going to be it's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a challenge. I'm about to order the t-shirts that I just created. I'm really putting them on the screen, not just because I want to sell t-shirts, but because I don't want to put too much Don Lemon show because I'll get a copyright strike, and I don't want to get a copyright strike, but I do want to show that his show is going on, his show is happening. You're not stopping anything, Trump administration. You think you're stopping something, but you're not stopping anything, and you won't stop anything. People will find a way to get information out. They will find a way to get the truth out. They will find a way to keep reporting. They'll find a way to defy fascism. They will fight against it. They will push back against it. And that is what is going to happen. And there's nothing that you can do to stop it. I don't know whether anybody saw it in Minneapolis when, after Alex Priddy was shot dead in the street, people came out and they protested. Of course, they protested as they should have. And when they did, ICE backed up, right? There was a pause. There was a pause in the action. ICE backed up, and they understood, we got a problem. We got a serious, serious, serious problem. And they're just, they think they can do whatever they want, but the American people are not going to stand for it. There's too many don't tread on me folks out here on the right and the left, okay? On the right and the left. Those don't tread on me types are going real quiet right now, but I suspect at some point they are going to wake up. They are going to, make their voices heard, and particularly with issues around the Second Amendment, which the Alex Priddy case inadvertently had a Second Amendment implication. And that was something that I think was quite an interesting feature of that story. This is from Bernice King. This statement, there's been a ton of statements out on Don Lemon today, as you would imagine. There was going to be a ton more. This is from Bernice King, one of the daughters of course, the late civil rights legend, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. We are in a dangerous place as a nation when members of the press are taken into custody for exercising their First Amendment right to a free press. With federal agents, we are in a dangerous place as a nation when members of the free press are taken into custody for exercising their First Amendment right to a free press while federal agents kill with impunity. The arrest of journalist Don Lemon, Traham Jean Cruz, Georgia Fort, Jamel Lindell Lundy, as dictated by the current presidential administration, should alarm us all. We must not look away or be dismissive. This is serious. I'm calling everyone to a higher state of consciousness and awareness of where we are. This is fascist behavior, and now more than ever, I urge us to persistently seek out and study nonviolence so that we have the necessary mindset, tools, strategies, and coordinated efforts, not only to resist in this moment, but to bring into being a true state of justice. That is the statement from Bernice King, one of the daughters of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. And underneath that, we have George Conway, who's running for office. He's running for Congress in New York. The arrest of Don Lemon is textbook fascism, a brazen attempt to silence reporting on a criminal regime. Stand up for Don, because our rights stand and fall with those courageous journalists throughout the country. It's absolutely correct. So obviously there's a lot of statements. We have, of course, Ben Crump, the amazing civil rights attorney. Attorney Ben Crump issued statement on arrest of Don Lemon. Los Angeles, California. Nationally renowned civil rights attorney Ben Crump issued a statement regarding the arrest of veteran journalist Don Lemon, who was taken into custody by federal agents in Los Angeles on Thursday night. Lemon faces charges in connection to his reporting on an anti-ICE protest at a Minneapolis church on January 18. A federal magistrate judge previously declined to approve an arrest warrant, finding prosecutors had not established probable cause. Attorney Crump issued the following statement: arresting a journalist for doing his job is a blatant attack on the First Amendment. Don Lemon should never have been put in handcuffs for exercising protected freedoms of the press. This is dangerous, unconstitutional, and must not stand. What makes this even more egregious is that a federal magistrate judge previously declined to sign an arrest warrant, finding prosecutors had not established probable cause. When our judicial system determines an arrest lacks legal foundation, it highlights just how severe this violation of constitutional rights truly is. A free press is the cornerstone of our democracy. When journalists are intimidated, detained, or arrested for reporting the news, we all lose. As a statement by Ben Crump, of course, the famous trial attorney with regard to the arrest last night of Don Lemon. We're hearing that Georgia Fort has been released, but I have not found confirmation of that. I just can see it on a bunch of chats that I'm on, but I do not know that for a fact one way or the other. I don't see her on a screen. It doesn't really matter. I don't see her on a screen. I just don't see any confirmation Georgia Ford has been released. But what everybody, of course, is waiting for is the release of Don Lemon. Everybody's waiting for that. There is a bunch of cameras, a ton of cameras set up in front of some courthouse in Los Angeles, probably Los Angeles County Courthouse. And that is the feed that everybody is staring at. I'm sure at some point, he will walk out of there. It'd be great if he walked out by 5:00. He'd basically be doing his show in front of those cameras. But this is an outrageous moment. It's an outrageous thing. I did get a note from somebody in the chat from our live show earlier with Denise Rolark Barnes, who is the owner. She is the owner of the Washington Informer. I don't know what this photographer's doing, but this photographer's making me think somebody's coming to the mics, even though I don't see anybody coming to the mics. Maybe they're just practicing. Anyway, and Stacey Brown, the veteran journalist of Black Press USA, and of course the host of Let It Be Known, which is on every single day at 8 a.m. Look for it on YouTube. Let It Be Known, 8 a.m. every single morning. This is a situation that is completely dangerous. We do have to move, I think, this entire situation to a higher level of urgency in terms of where we are, in terms of just understanding that this group of people is just dangerous, and they'll do anything and say anything and do anything to win. There is a bunch of journalists running around. It kind of gives me the feeling that something is about to happen outside this courthouse. I've seen that movie before. People running around. I'm just going to, hey, Mike, how you doing? I'm going to turn the sound up a little bit on this feed and see what, if anything, is hard to tell. It's just people running around. Of course, a lot of times in these courthouses, there's several cases going on, not just one. So, it's presumptuous to assume only the Don Lemon situation is going on. But certainly when you go outside some of these bigger courthouses in bigger cities, there's a lot going on. Please hit the like button if you will. Really appreciate that. And I do say that this is going to go down as probably one of the most notorious acts of the Trump administration. There's absolutely no doubt about it. Pam Bondi got on a little statement trying to make this into some sort of freedom of religion issue. It's not going to hold. It's the same thing that you saw with James Comey and that we saw with Tish James is going to happen with Don Lemon. They're going to waste everybody's time in court. They're going to run him through court and he's going to be let off. That's what's going to happen. You are not going to get prosecuted for standing in a church as a journalist covering an event. It's just not going to happen. Even if he was part of the protest, it wouldn't happen. He wasn't part of the protest. So what are we doing? So we'll see how this plays out. Just goes to show you that Pam Bondi will do absolutely anything that Donald Trump tells her to do. Absolutely anything. It's two people in the administration. There's more than two people, but there's two key people. Cash Patel and Pam Bondi will do anything that they are told. And there's a lot of running around. He must be coming out. So at any rate, that to me is what's going on here in terms of Trump administration. Yeah, he is coming out. This is the scene right here. Courthouse. No, it's Jane Fonda.
Okay.
Jane Fonda, everybody.
So I'm here representing the Committee for the First Amendment, which is made up of about 3,000 members of the entertainment industry, prepared to fight for our constitutional right, our freedom of speech, assembly, protest, freedom of the press. The arrest of Don Lemon doing his journalistic duty is one page more out of an authoritarian playbook. And we say enough is enough. We have to fight to protect our rights. Many of our fathers and grandfathers fought and died for these rights. And we are not ready to sit and be quiet. We have to speak up. Every American who believes in our Constitution has to speak up. Don Lemon is a professional journalist. He and his producer were doing their job. Nothing more, nothing less. And he's been arrested. And they'll make up all kinds of defamatory things to say about him. That's what they're doing. This is how autocrats act. We can't fall for it. We have to speak up. When a red line is crossed like this, we cannot be silent. And you want to say something? No. Okay. So I know Don Lemon. My husband created CNN, and I will fight for their right to speak, which is guaranteed in our Constitution. They arrested the wrong Don. Thank you very much. He's a journalist.
Rashad Robinson off to the side with the hat right there. At any rate, she's just making an announcement with regard to freedom of the press. And you can absolutely bet she won't be the only one making that announcement. This is going to be a situation that is going to get worse before it gets better. We have a president who is absolutely out of control and violating the Constitution, has absolutely no idea what the Constitution is, what rules are, and doesn't care, does whatever the hell he wants. And nothing is there to really stop him. And the Supreme Court is not going to stop him. The media is really one of the only things that is sort of in the way. And it's just a situation that's completely out of control. And it continues. It continues to be out of control. Now we're arresting journalists. Like, this is absolutely ridiculous. Crazy situation. Don Lemon, of course, a very well-known journalist. You're not just taking anybody, but they want to make an example out of him. They want this to be, oh, let's scare other journalists. Let's make sure that they don't say anything and they remain quiet and they won't say nothing. And well, I can tell you that that's not going to happen. That's absolutely not going to happen. And, you can bet your sweet ass. Well, basically what's going to happen is more people are going to speak up. You can see that on Don Lemon's channel, his show is up. Monique Presley is anchoring. And that is what is going on. They're covering, of course, the same little press event that we just saw with Jane Fonda. You see that, of course, there's a ton of media there. She's taking some questions. And Don Lemon's show is up and running, ladies and gentlemen. And so ain't nothing stopping that roll from happening. And so we'll go back to that feed. This is the feed right here, but we'll go back to the feed of this presser when and if he comes out. And I'm sure when he does, he will make some sort of a statement. Although his attorney, Abby Lowell, is likely to be the person doing most of the talking. I actually think in this case that won't be the case. I think Don will be talking for himself. If I had to guess. But this is an insane situation. This president just gets more brazen and more crazy. And this is how it works. Georgia Fort was doing a live stream when they came to apprehend her. She's got a ton of footage of a bunch of DEA agents. Don't ask me why DEA agents are outside her house. And this woman she actually should be free right now. This is absolutely ridiculous. Ridiculous situation of the rise of fascism in the United States. It can't be said any clearer. It is a very, very, very dangerous situation that we have in this country. We have a president who thinks he can do whatever he wants to whomever he wants. That's what this is. I can do whatever I want. There are no rules. I'm in charge. I'm it. I'm Donald Trump. I can do whatever I want. I mean, that's basically what this is. And it continues to be a huge problem, particularly when one political party has decided to check out. The Republican Party has decided to check out. They've decided that it doesn't matter as long as somebody on their side of the aisle is breaking the rules. They just don't really care. And so we have a situation where this president gets particularly dangerous when you see the Epstein files coming out. I don't want to get too far into that. I can do a separate live on the Epstein files, but he gets particularly irrational when the Epstein files happen. I mean, he just gets very, very irrational, and this is where, again, it gets very dangerous. There is video of Georgia Fort being released. This is from about 30 minutes ago, although it was probably a little bit earlier. So there's a lot going on here, obviously, today with these Epstein files coming out. And you know, Jesus, I mean, just so much going on. We have Georgia Fort's daughter talking to media. That must have been an incredibly traumatic situation in there. Got a bunch of agents surrounding the house. And this is what Donald Trump has brought us. He loves to bring the chaos, he loves to bring the confusion. I can do whatever I want. Shout out to Jerome Powell on the day that someone's being announced to replace him, but Jerome Powell being one of the few people who actually stood up and said something and pushed back on Donald Trump, pushed back freaking hard. And you cannot, these academic institutions, Harvard, Columbia, they should be ashamed of themselves. Absolutely ashamed of themselves. Bending over to Donald Trump for what? Why? For what? And why are you teaching people's kids that, about principle and standing on this and blah blah, and then you're folding, then the academic institution is folding to a fascist? You've got to be kidding me. You have got to be kidding me. So I mean, this is an incredible time that we live in, and it's going to get more incredible because he's going to be in office probably for another 3 years. So you have to sit here and pace yourself on this idea that this person, Donald Trump, we have to deal with this. And Democrats have come up with a plan. They don't have one, as I think most people have realized. They are in a situation where they just don't have it. They don't know what to do about. And I totally understand they're not in power, but you cannot allow this to happen again. It cannot be allowed to happen again. It happened because, really, if you think about it, it happened because running Hillary Clinton, because it's her turn. And then, of course, Trump gets in. Trump gets in. And then they run Joe Biden. Joe Biden wins in 2020. And then, of course, they make the mistake of not switching to someone younger, which is, by the way, was what Biden said he was going to, he said he was a one term, hey, I'm just here to replace and then I'm out of here. And that, of course, doesn't happen. Nobody gives up the reins of power easy. Nobody. They want to stay for as long as they can stay. Nobody. I don't think we very rarely, I think Biden was the only one we actually saw do it, give up power in a situation where you have to give up power. It just doesn't happen very often. And that might have cost us American democracy. Might have cost us that. The fact that Biden didn't leave and decided to run again in 2024 might have cost us. We don't know yet, but boy, it's looking that way because I don't see what stops this role of Donald Trump. I just don't see it. I just don't see it. Excuse me as I readjust here. But like the point of the situation here is that this is just incredibly dangerous. It's an incredibly dangerous situation. We start arresting people because of their views, because of how they feel, because of what their political affiliations are. And of course, the Trump administration has no problem. Pam Bondi, no problem. I'm just going to do what he tells me to do. I don't care about what anybody thinks. See, everybody thinks it's a great idea until the other party gets into power. Then it's not such a great idea. So at any rate, this is a shot outside the courthouse in Los Angeles of everybody waiting for Don Lemon to walk out of there. I guess he's scheduled to walk out at some point. You know, they could turn this nonsense. I doubt they'll get away with it, but of course they could turn this nonsense into, hey, let's keep him over the weekend. I doubt that's happening. First of all, they're in California, liberal jurisdiction. Hard to pull this nonsense off. I'm surprised that they were able to arrest him in the first place, but they were. Um, and that is something that is crazy in itself. Never happen in the first place. That they were able to pull this off. You know, an incredible situation. And I would love to see the arguments on paper because this is where the administration always looks really effing stupid when they try to make an argument in a courtroom in front of a judge. And we've seen several Republican judges, in fact, a few Trump appointees, be like, yeah, that argument ain't gonna cut it. that ain't gonna play, and really make a lot of these Trump U.S. attorneys, etc., and so on, look really stupid. At least in the documents, they look really stupid. And I'm sure they look really stupid in person in court as well. So this is again an amazing thing that I'm trying to think of a parallel for this in American history and really can't think of one. We have had situations where media platforms have released documents that went to the question of national security, and of course that got the government very worried. I'm just going to turn the camera off for 1 second as I readjust something. And, that has become, Pentagon paper situation being an example, that has become a major source of conversation, whether or not a news organization can release files with regard to national security and all that. Well, this is not a national security situation. This is journalists at protest, and then they tried to make it into, oh my God, he's at the protest. He must be part of the protest. That's what the deal was. So that's the game here, and oh my goodness, what a situation. Hopefully this blows up Don Lemon's YouTube channel, which is what I think this will do. They're gonna make him into a bigger star than he already was. And I am here for it. I'm absolutely here for it because good, good. That's what you did. You blew him up into a bigger. Great. He's at 1.1 million. I think today he was at 1.1. He probably got 100,000 more views, and I suspect by the end of the weekend, I guarantee you he'll be at 1.5, something like that. Wouldn't surprise me one bit. Wouldn't surprise me one bit. 1.5 million, maybe even 2 million. No, and Don Lemon's channel was always already growing anyway. But already growing anyway, already blowing up anyway, because of course his name is huge, and I suspect that he will he'll with this type of thing going on, that channel is going to get probably three, 2 or 3 times the size of what it is, and good, because independent media is hugely important right now. Whether it's Don Lemon, whether it's Roland Martin, whether it's Joy Reid, whether it's the Bulwark. I see April Ryan has a show. Great. I mean, bring it on. The more, the merrier. The Contrarian and Midas Touch, of course. Bring it on. Hopefully we get even more. You have Native Land Pod. You have Monique Presley has a show. I mean, so I'm just loving the fact that all of these people are having shows. That's exactly what needs to be happening. The more shows, the merrier. And this is a situation where this is why you need all that information coming in, because these are the games that they play. I mean, they want to block they want to block certain information from coming in. They don't want people knowing certain things. And somebody like Don Lemon was really putting it out there with Jolly Ginger and all the other people he would have on the show. He doesn't have people who come on the show and don't say anything and want to punk out and not say nothing. I mean, that's the beauty of the whole thing. And that is what the Trump administration is trying to stop. It's exactly what they're trying to stop. Whew. So at any rate, this is a situation. Wait for him to come outside the courthouse. It is probably about 1 o'clock in Los Angeles. It's 1:56, coming on 2 o'clock. So whatever processing is going on back there for something that happened last night should be coming to an end, I suspect. When you have that much media standing outside a courthouse, they probably know that something is about to happen or somebody's about to walk out or whatever. But obviously, you see members of press sort of mincing around, and I'll keep my eye on that feed at some point. It will, do something. But the overreach of the federal government is a major problem right now. I see Jim Acosta is live, and he is, broadcasting, I'm sure, about Don Lemon. I'm just going to take a few seconds of this. Oh, and so that was short. At any rate, yeah. So Jim Acosta being another person who, of course, was at CNN and who now has an independent platform. Thank goodness. With all the rest. I mean, this is a situation where it's just insane. It's an insane situation. Obviously, it's Don Lemon's feed right here. You can see that his show again goes on. The show, nothing stops the show, baby. Nothing stops the show. So Don Lemon's show is on right now. If you want to go look at that feed, of course they have the anchor is Monique Presley. She's been sitting there like all day, and I'm sure we'll continue to sit there. This is a situation where obviously everything is fluid, and Don's show would ordinarily be on at 5 o'clock. Roland Martin is on at 6. I think Joy Reid is on at 6 as well, and everybody is throwing up lives left and right. So there is a lot of live TV going on right now, a ton of live TV going on right now. And that is, that's going to continue. That's absolutely going to continue. Everyone's talking about this, and everybody will continue to talk about this. We do have a winter storm that's about to hit North Carolina, and I'm praying not too much of Virginia. I've been looking at it because my mother's house is in Virginia. But at any rate, the situation with this is just going to be ongoing for a while, as it should be. This is fascism in the United States. This is what it looks like. You have a government trying to control the free press. You have the government trying to control what people say. You have the government trying to make attempts to stop things like this, like Black Virginia News, an independent platform that I own. And, the government doesn't like, or I should say this way, the Trump regime doesn't like the free press. They don't like their criticism. We have a baby president who's sensitive about everything, and oh my God, I can't be criticized. It's an absolute it's foolish pretend world that he lives in, and this is a situation that is likely to get worse before it gets better. That is hugely problematic. This is a huge problem. Having Trump in office, he has caused a series of problems. He is set upon cities that are run by Democratic politicians with whatever they're called. I know people call them ICE agents. I don't know who they are. They're people with masks, with no shield or badge, no identifying nameplate, and nothing to tell you that this person is an actual sworn law enforcement agent. Okay. And having a Velcro placard on your chest, nah, that doesn't do it for me. You gotta have a little bit more than that. But they're playing this game out there, and they've now killed two American citizens. Very serious situation. They've now killed two American citizens. Renee Good on January 7, and Alex Preddy. Alex Preddy was at the 23rd. I think it was the 23rd of January. Insane. Insane. I mean, can you imagine? And for all of you out there who were, oh my God, Black Lives Matter is being so crazy. And why do you keep talking about race? Yeah, well, it turns out that Black Lives Matter was right. And turns out that Black Lives Matter is now sitting back and saying, wow, that's interesting. I guess you guys think this is now serious now. God. I mean, this is a situation that had been growing for years. The rise of the warrior cop, militarization in police departments, it's the government. And for every conservative out there who talks about too much government, I'm always shocked. I'm always shocked that conservatives and Republicans talk about too much government, always stop talking when it comes to police, and I have no idea why that is. It is a insane situation, and we're waiting for Don Lemon to come outside the Los Angeles courthouse. I'll go for another 15 minutes. If he hasn't come out, I'll probably sign off and then sign back on. You might notice in this show that when the show open happens and when the show closes, Don Lemon it's me talking to Don Lemon. Don Lemon was on Capitol Hill, and I don't know him really, really well. I can't say that, but I know him a little bit from my time as a communications director for the Lieutenant Governor of Virginia, the 41st Lieutenant Governor of Virginia, Justin Fairfax, in 2019. Don was very professional, very good, a very tough time. Very, very professional. And something I won't forget because it was rare. It's just very rare. And at any rate, we've been in the same meetings together. I will say Lauren Live is kind of caping off his show. His show, of course, is Lemon Live. My show is Lauren Live, and I'm kind of stealing his rhythm a little bit on that, his vibe. But nobody can really steal Don's vibe. His show has blown up. It's huge. It is massive, and it's going to get more massive as a result of this nonsense. And again, I'm here for it. I do think that this is an insane situation with this insane clown posse administration. It's a situation that's incredibly dangerous, as I say, and you never know how far Donald Trump might go. I think he's going to go very far. I think this joking around about arresting Barack Obama is, in fact, not a joke. I think they're going to try to do it. I literally think they're going to try to do it. That's going to be a complicated situation because he has Secret Service protection. And his Secret Service protection is going to be like, where are you going? I don't care who shows up at his residence. If you're a Barack Obama, your agents are going to be like, nah, we're not doing that. Arrest them for what? I have no idea. But, they just make stuff up. So what do they care, right? This is Lauren Burke. This is Lauren Live. And, just enough government to rescue them when we become scary. Sorry, I'm not reading the chat. I'm a little bit distracted. I'm actually looking at the weather report coming into Virginia, the Commonwealth of Virginia. Let's see who this is at the mic. Let's turn the volume. Okay, so this is a gentleman at the mic. I don't know who it is, but good for him. He's saying all the things that he should be saying about the free press and about the situation surrounding Don Lemon, who is yet to be seen. Of course, Georgia Fort has been released in Minnesota, and we can see video of that on social media. Uh, this is a situation we're just waiting, a bunch of media, of course, waiting outside the courthouse in Los Angeles for Don Lemon to walk out of there. At some point, he will walk out of there. This is a crazy situation. I can't say that enough. I can't say the words enough that this is a crazy situation. I will say that, man, you never know what Donald Trump might do. He is a baby. He likes to have temper tantrums. He's a narcissist. He is a thin skinned little bully. And, like Jerome Powell uh, performed. You got to stand up to bullies. You can't just let them do whatever the heck they want, or they will run you over. And Jerome Powell did a really good job at just being like, "Look, I'm not just gonna do what you say, and then that's it. Like that's not how this is gonna work." Um, and so I just would say that this is a situation that is dangerous. It's a dangerous situation for this country when you have a government that is so obsessed with wanting to control what people know, what they find out, what they learn in the media, what they watch. And you can see that there's a concerted takeover of TikTok. There's a concerted takeover of Twitter, which of course happened when Elon Musk, who's a white supremacist, took over Twitter. You can see that there's an effort to control what people are looking at, and now these people in tech world, they are trying to control what we see and what we don't see. And you can see that the danger of that, of course, was laid bare on January 6, 2021. We had a situation where a bunch of nuts showed up to the Capitol, Donald Trump supporters who attacked the building, attacked police, and acted crazy because they thought the election had been stolen, and it had not been stolen. But they got it in their head that it was, and you saw what resulted. It was, in fact, insane. It was absolutely insane. I'm right now buying the Don Lemon T-shirt that I that I designed. At any rate, this is a situation where people have to be very, very careful about what they what they do and what they see, and really be careful about misinformation and disinformation. Again, Don Lemon's show is on right now live. He would typically be on at 5 o'clock Eastern. And of course, Monique Presley is anchoring. So, of course, that show continues. Again, I don't wanna I don't wanna play too much of it. That is Don Lemon's show. I don't wanna play too much of it, of course, 'cause, you will get a copyright strike on YouTube if you fool around too much playing other people's feeds. So, at any rate, I just wanna show that, hey, his show is on. It's up. Monique Presley is hosting. She has been all day, and she will continue to host, and the show will continue to go on. And, of course, it will go on with Don Lemon when he returns. One thing I really like about his show is that he will drop in with a live at any moment, you know. And when he drops in with a live for any moment, like he's going to certainly do that, obviously, when he gets released. And we will, I'm sure, hear from him. I'm absolutely certain of that. In another hour, Roland Martin will be live, and so will Joy Reid, I suspect. I don't know that for sure. She actually was live already, but she probably be live again. At any rate, this is a situation that will be discussed heavily all weekend because, again, outrageous situation, outrageous situation by the Trump administration. They just think they can do whatever they want, and I suspect you're going to get lawsuits the other way when Stephen Miller called Alex Preddy a domestic terrorist. He's going to get sued for that. They're going to sue. They're going to sue for defamation. I mean, that's what's going to happen. And that lawsuit for defamation is going to be serious and it's probably going to stick. And I don't know what people think that they can just say whatever the heck they want. It doesn't work that way. So we're going to see some lawsuits flying toward the Trump administration. They love to freaking sue everything. Now he's suing the IRS. Of course, he's going to get that money because that's his whole thing, sue everybody and get the money. And that's what Trump, that's just what he's about. And that's what's going to happen. He's going to get it because, of course, he's got somebody sitting there who's controlling the IRS that's going to give him the money. Just like CBS gave him money, just like ABC gave him money. So this is the game right now. We will see at some point, Don Lemon, we will see at some point Don Lemon walk out of that courthouse, and this is going to make him stronger and bigger than he ever was. It's an outrageous situation that, again, should have never happened, and in the first place. And Georgia Ford, of course, hopefully she'll find some legal assistance somewhere out there in the world. I suspect she will, and continue on with her journalism. But you see how dangerous the times that we live in are. These are some unbelievably dangerous times where you have a president of the United States and an administration who will do absolutely anything, who do not care. They think they're right about everything, and they're wrong. They're not right about everything. I am peeking at the weather because my mother's house is in Southern Virginia, and it's got my attention. Man, there's a model that, man, has a 9 inches attached to it. I hope that doesn't happen. Just give me 1 second.
Exactly what I mean, though. By things change, it said nothing this past run. At the midday show, Norfolk had like 0.7. It now has 8.5. Well, things change. So,
and we talked about it too at the beginning, where we talked about the fact that we've got the northern jet stream and the subtropical jet stream, which have to phase. These are gigantic weather systems that again are we have to hit it on the button and figure out exactly what's going to happen. If this storm moves east or west 40, 50 miles,
it's make all the difference.
It's an entirely different situation.
Sorry about that. Yeah, we just got some changing weather in Virginia. At any rate, there are a lot of things going on today. That the Epstein files are dropping, and of course, that makes the president completely crazy. He gets crazier and crazier when those Epstein files drop. Boy, he really, really does. I'm Lauren Burke. This is Lauren Live, and I see a lot of people lingering in the chat as I am. I am lingering. This t-shirts, by the way, the links are in the description. I will probably sign off and come back. Maybe I will not. Maybe come back if he comes out. I will go live again. Right? I'll just keep going live. And we'll see what happens. I think Don will probably come out in the next hour or so. I mean, it's hard to tell what's going on. I'm sure that from his standpoint, he's probably somewhere in the building thinking, "Oh my goodness, this is crazy that this is happening." All right. I mean, but at any rate, it is crazy that this happened. Shouldn't be happening. Should not be happening. All right. This is Lauren Burke. Thanks for everybody who's in the chat. Mike, John. John, even though we disagree, it's all right. Forensic accountant. We love a forensic accountant. Tanya. Tanya, I don't know what you're talking about, but okay, it's all good. It's a free country. That's what freedom of speech is about, All right, people write what they want in chat. This is Lauren Live. This is Lauren Burke, and I will be back when Don walks out of that courthouse. Let's check one more time before we bounce. Let's check one more time before we bounce, because you just never know when somebody might walk out, but it's easy to get back to the feed, back and forth. Yeah, so there's not too much going on. You can see the cameras just are pointing in a certain direction, and not a whole lot going on at the courthouse right now. And of course, I've been on these stakeouts. They're a trip. You have no idea. At any rate, this outro that you're about to see does have Don Lemon at the top of it. I think this is from, he was on Capitol Hill one day and I was talking to him. He's in the intro and the outro for this show, which is kind of funny to think about because we have no affiliation officially with this show. I'm just a Don Lemon fan, but at any rate, enjoy Don Lemon, and we're going to enjoy him live, I think, pretty soon.
Somewhere. What's going on? Thank you. Are you watching now?
Yeah. No, I was watching on the left, but it's excellent. I love it. I love the traffic's blowing up. You were in Brooklyn last night. Where?
I was in Bushwick.
Okay, I have my grandmother's house in Crown Heights.
Oh, yeah.
So when I saw you, I was trying to look at what the pizza place was to see where
As soon as we got there, someone recognized the pizza place. They're like, we got to get out of here. Someone in.
Get out. It was great.
Blowing up our spot.
This show is freaking fantastic.
Thank you.
Love it. Love it, man. Love it.